You want to know the truth? The truth is, America was built on lies. White lies. Lies about who belongs, about who deserves to be free, lies about who gets to hold power and who doesn't. And despite what we've been taught, this country was not founded on the ideals of liberty and justice and freedom for all. No, the founding stepfathers built this nation on a foundation of white supremacy. It was the only way for them to obtain and maintain power. And this is the manufactured myth of whiteness. Because when this country was first being colonized by Europeans, when the Irish and the Italians, the Polish, and countless others came to this country, they didn't come as white people. They were Irish, Italian, Polish, whatever. But white Americans convinced them that in order for them to thrive and survive in this country, they needed to be white. They needed to be one of the good ones. And that they needed to start seeing themselves as better than the other ones. Better than the black man, better than the native man, better than the Asian man, better than the woe man, better than anyone who wasn't one of them, who wasn't white. It's just a fucking scam. A scam of division. A scam that keeps power in the hands of the few and robs it from the many. And it continues to this day. Because white supremacy isn't something from the past. It's not some ancient evil. It's the living, breathing force that holds us all in chains today. And guess who gets to keep pulling those chains? White people. Even white people who benefit from white privilege, but don't want it. People like you and I, Brett. I don't want white privilege. I know you don't want your white privilege.
100% right.
And what makes me so angry is when people like us, the melanin deficient, white people, don't act or react because it doesn't directly affect them. Even if they're gay, disabled, poor, they turn a blind eye. They get uncomfortable when you and I talk about politics or talk about white history or white supremacy or present day racism. Slavery is not black history. Surviving it is. Slavery is white history. Native American genocide, it's still happening. White history. The subjugation of women, still happening. White history. So to my fellow melanin deficient, to the white folks, it's time for us to stop being afraid or uncomfortable of being woke, because we need to wake the fuck up. Because if we don't speak out for those who are being harmed now, no one is going to be there to speak for us when they come for us.
You're 100% right. I was born with a disability, and Trump recently signed an executive order that directly attacks people with disabilities, trying to force them into hospitalization.
I'm sorry. Don't mean to interrupt, but you're saying Cheeto Schittler signed an executive order targeting disabled people, whether they can live at home like you do, into forced hospitalization.
And that's why other people in the disabled community need to really step up. In the words of you, they need to stand up, speak out, strike back. Because if we don't speak on the atrocities that happen to other people, they're not going to be able to speak on the atrocities that happen to us because they won't be around. This administration is trying to silence us. They want silence. They want silence to be our surrender. And that's what they're counting on. And this really reminds me of a poem called They Came For.
I love that poem. I love that poem. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. I love it too. And what it was a warning about the silence in the face of injustice. Something happens to a certain group of people, but because it wasn't you, you stayed silent. And now they went after another group of people. They became silent again. But now when they get to you, there's no one there to speak on your behalf. There's no one there to stand by your side.
I don't think either of us are trying to guilt people into action. You know, we don't want anybody to get it twisted. You know, what we're talking about is trying to empower you and understand your role in this system that oppresses other people. Because eventually they're going to come for you. They're going to come for me. They're going to come for Brett. They're going to come for everybody who isn't them. And it's truly up to us, the melanin deficient, to dismantle this system. Because let me tell you, white supremacy, it ain't going nowhere until white people rise up, take responsibility for this monster that we've created, our ancestors created, and is still being fed by people who benefit and want to benefit from white supremacy. It's up to us to decimate it and destroy it from the marrow of our society. This isn't some theoretical issue. This is about survival. It's about democracy. It's about freedom. And it's about goddamn time that we take action. All of us. Every single one of us. Because as a country, we've never been great. Ever. This whole Make America Great Again. When was it ever great? We've always been awful. We've never reached our promised capacity. But to quote President Biden, we've never walked away from it either. So let's talk about the truth of it. Let's lay it out there. Slavery, that's not black history. It's white history. The indigenous genocide, white history. Jim Crow, white history. When white folks look at history, they need to face it, not run from it, because it's all connected. Trump didn't win the first election. Hillary beat him by almost 3 million votes. He didn't win the second. Biden beat him by 8 million votes. And I believe in this last one, he stole it. I mean, he admitted it on social media and on mainstream media like 6 times. Leon Scum admitted it, that he helped him. He stole it. Just like everything else he's ever done. And he's trying to steal your vote and your future, and everyone else's too. He's weaponizing this chaos, throwing up smoke and mirrors to keep us overwhelmed and hoping that we're all going to burn out. The border wall, the violence, the cruelty, the hatred, ordering red states to send their National Guard to DC to clean up the crime when it's the lowest crime rate in recent history, and then arming the National Guard with live rounds. For what? To use on protesters? Like they did in the 60s at Kent State University? Or canceling legal aid for minors, subjecting them to deportation without due process?
That's what they're clearly going for. Because currently, with the legal aid, there are 26,000 children who are able to get help because of this aid. And without it, they're having deportation without due process. And just so we're clear on something, anyone in this country, whether they are a citizen, undocumented, if they are in this country, by law, they are allowed due process.
Exactly. And due process means you get a lawyer, you get a day in court in front of a judge to present your case. And the judge then decides your fate. Otherwise, this is just racial profiling, discrimination, and the manifestation of hate in action. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
You're 100% right on that. But there's more. Back in the beginning of August, ICE raided 65 people in Connecticut over a 4-day period, with them being at court for their immigration process, doing what they're supposed to do.
Right. They were there in Connecticut at a courthouse doing their mandatory legal check-ins on their refugee status, and ICE was waiting in the hallway for them to come out and just snatched them up, right?
Yep. And the worst part is that of those 65 that they detained, 36 of them were never charged or convicted with a crime. Only 29 of the 65 were, meaning 55% of the people they detained over this 4-day period weren't charged with anything and they weren't convicted of anything.
But it is important to note that being undocumented is a misdemeanor. Kidnapping is a felony. So who are the real criminals here? We know, they know, and it's all being done to satisfy the racist MAGA base. They misuse taxpayer dollars to paint that stupid border wall black, to make it so that it would be too hot for undocumented people to climb. But here's the proof that it's all bullshit. Legally, they could only paint the American side. So are they trapping Americans from escaping this criminal regime? Or are they just fucking idiots, just trying to satisfy the racist MAGA base? Because here's the thing, their power structure is crumbling. We're seeing MAGA voters posting on social media that they regret their vote. Now, I don't think that it's going to be a huge movement. I don't think that it's going to be a huge change in this country. But I do believe that every single one of those people matter. Because even the mightiest waterfall begins with a single drop. So every drop matters. Whether it's a few from the MAGA side and a ton from our side, we need a fucking tsunami to blow through this country and just clear all the MAGA trash out. And you know who's standing tall in the wreckage? Gavin fucking Newsom, my governor. I live in Los Angeles, California. And Gavin isn't just sitting back. He's trolling, he's mocking the Trump regime on the daily. He's on the offense. He's punching, counterpunching, something that institutional Democrats should have been doing years ago, since the George W. administration. But all they've done is pretty much sit back and react. And now we're drowning in this sewage. And that's why we need more leaders like Gavin Newsom. We need fighters. We need action. Governor Newsom leads a state that's not only the fourth largest economy in the world, and that's compared to other nations, right? Our state is the fourth largest economy in the world compared to other nations. He's also a leader of a state that is plagued by wildfires. And so for those who are kind of bitching how he's trolling and mocking Trump, understand this man knows how to battle wildfires. And in one of the ways you battle a wildfire is you do a controlled burn so that it stops the fire from progressing. And that's exactly what he's doing. And all of us who believe in democracy, who reject fascism, who want to punch a fucking Nazi, should be inspired by his leadership. That includes elected Democrats in state houses, in city councils, in Congress, both houses. They should be inspired by his leadership and follow his leadership because it's working. So it's up to us, the people who feel it in their bones, that resistance isn't optional. It is the only way to defeat this horrible regime, this manufactured myth of white supremacy, and We need to follow Governor Newsom's leadership by taking the fight to them. And as you know, B, we've received so many questions from people asking, I live in a red state, how can I resist?
All the time.
Yeah, all that we get those questions all the time. Well, I don't have an answer for everyone because I don't live in where you live and I don't know what you are willing to put on the line. I don't know what you're willing to do, but I can tell you some basics. First, you got to stay informed. It's the only way the dictators and wannabe tyrants can stay in power is when the people give up. So stay informed, stay involved, and then show the fuck up. When you see or hear that ICE has invaded your community, be there, show up, stand with those who can't fight for themselves. Video, confront these ICE agents. I mean, it's odd to me that suddenly there's no more militias around. Where are the Oath Keepers? Where are the Proud Boys? Well, I can tell you where they are. They've been hired by ICE. You can tell just by how sloppy these idiots look. So confront them, video them, stay safe, but shame the fuck out of them. Attend your city council meetings. Let your voice be heard. Support the speakers. If you don't want to speak, then support the speakers. Attend town halls when your federal representatives come to your communities. Attend. Again, if you can't speak, then support the speakers. Let these elected officials know that they are in the minority, that we are not a conservative country. Let them know that they aren't doing the will of the people, but licking the loafers of a wannabe tyrant. And when it comes to time to vote, you have to show up. A lot of people look at voting as a personality contest. Like you have to love everything about the candidate, these purity tests and all that shit. No, we can't do that anymore. It's important for all of us to remember because it's being shoved down our throats that this is a conservative country, but it isn't. We outnumber them and they know it. In places like Texas, they want everybody to believe that it's a red state, but it isn't. That's a fucking lie. It's not a red state. It's a stolen state, a gerrymandered state. And Brett, I think you got the numbers on that.
Yes, I do. According to independentvoter.org, there are 2 million more registered Democrats than Republicans in the state of Texas. There are 17.5 million registered voters in Texas, and over 8 million of them are Democrats, compared to only 6 million for Republicans. Texas Democrats lead Republicans 47 to 38%.
And this is why staying informed, feeding your mind matters. Because here's a state that everybody believes is this blood red fucking state, and it's not. Texas is a blue state. It's just stolen and gerrymandered because Governor Abbott is a loafer licking Trump supporter. They're hoping for us to burn out, to get overwhelmed. They're hoping that all this chaos and cruelty will just beat us down, make us feel hopeless, make us feel powerless. But I know this about us. We might take a relax to refuel, but we will never burn out. We will only burn brighter. And they are terrified of that. Because racists are all fucking cowards. These amosexuals. What the fuck are you so terrified of? Walking into Walmart with like 9 long guns. Who do you think's going to invade fucking Walmart? Because I'll tell you this. There's a mass shooter that happened at a Walmart. And it was in a red state, a concealed carry state. There wasn't one person that shot back. There wasn't one employee at Walmart that ran to the sporting goods section and opened up the gun displays, grabbed a shotgun, loaded it, and fired back. They all ducked and ran. Because when the shit hits the fan, if you're not trained, fear takes over, survival takes over, you run. These homosexuals are terrified. So Trump is the result of their fear. Trump is the result of the fear of racists who do not want to be treated how they treat oppressed people in this country. So Trump is a result of cowardice, not power. And we, the pro-democracy people in this country who believe in justice, who believe in equality and equity for all people, we are the ocean. White supremacists are puddles. What do you do to a puddle? You jump in it, you stamp on it, the water splashes out, what's left? It's shallow, and there's just a bunch of muck. So once you get past their stupid talking points, there's nothing left. They cannot survive at the depths that we dive. We're the fucking ocean. So let's drag them down into the darkness and leave them there, and we'll come back up and catch a breath. And for those people who keep saying, this isn't America, I can't believe this is happening, this isn't America. Yes, it fucking is. We've always been awful. America isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as it was planned by the founding stepfathers. If there's a silver lining in all this darkness, people are waking up and they're realizing that it's time to knock all this shit down and rebuild. And this I know, people like us, me, Brett, the listeners, we'll never stop. We'll never back down until everyone in this country is free of fascists, of white supremacy, and that democracy is restored and preserved. And I'm asking all of you to join us, to rise, rebel, and resist. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. As always, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.